how to just kick us off. Guys. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to kick off in the bottom left-hand side with Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Cure. This is, I believe, new map. I know. I want to say. I want to say it's new maps and new patch, I would imagine. I'm actually not 100% sure, but I believe there's probably no reason for them not to run new patch. To be honest, so yeah, I would say we're probably going to see a little bit of that, I think. So yeah, I imagine there's new patch and stuff, and we can go on. So this is going to be Royal Blood to start us off. Royal Blood's part of the new map pool. And hey, what's up, Caloff1? Thank you so much for the 19-month resub. Good morning, Warrior. Hope everything's okay. Hope you're doing good, mate. Thanks so much for dropping by and supporting for a little bit. Appreciate it. So yes, to get things underway, we do have ourselves a Command Center morphing into an orbital, and this is going to be Royal Blood. This map, I really like this one when it was in the TLMC. This gold base is kind of fun over here, but apart from that, it's just pretty cool kind of map. I think it's very cool for just some standard macro focused play. I imagine it's going to be pretty nice. As we get going, it's going to be an Adept Chrono boosting out. I'm just going to be seeing the Reaper making its way across to the other side. It's going to be making a little bit of a journey across, see what's going on. Just going to be seeing the Reaper hopping into the main base, coughing down a little bit of a grenade to start us off here. And just going to be seeing the Reaper turning back around just for a moment or two. As that's the Twilight Council building up on the side of Zoun. So again, that Twilight Council ready and set. Reaper's going to get a few pings off onto a pylon here. Just going to be having the Adept coming back across as well. And this probe ends up retreating away through the bottom right side. The Adept gets over here to turn the Reaper around as well. Just going to deny that, push this back. Again, waiting on that Twilight Council to finish up. Gateway coming through, probes coming through. To see what Zoun wants to do here to open on Royal Blood. If this was to be aggressive Stalkers, it's an okay map for Stalkers. No ramp in the natural. Rotate over here and you can blink in here, but it's a small main base, so I think it's pretty easily defended on both sides, fairly notably. So yeah, that would be my main point of interest. Just gonna be seeing the sentry coming through and actually nibbling at this Reaper as it gets chased to the top. Probes get us around, and the little Reaper grenade doesn't connect to bop a few probes, so Reaper goes down. I mean, you're talking about Scout on the Twilight Council, so you get good information, to be fair. So you're pretty happy with what you've been able to see right from the very start of this. As Cure will just be building up into a medevac mines and waiting for that drop to happen in the next few moments. I imagine that is going to be a big part of our early game here, as a few Marines will start to work on the hallucination. Just getting some damage done on that to begin with. It flies through into the base. One Hellion just to the top side as well, so let's wait to see if there's a third base coming down. Obviously, so far there is not, so not a super quick base going down there at all. Then drop another barracks in, get that started up. And a lot of this underway for the moment here, and really seeing where we're going to start taking things over. The next little while, we've got ourselves the Wood Mines dropping in and going to go for a few of these probes. Bang, bang. 2 probes going down. Just going to be able to grab a couple of kills off that. Well, a couple of probes go down. We're onto a charge already from Zoun, so he's just going to stick to 3 gases. No, he's going to go to 4. Okay, so he does take a 4th gas, so looking for future tech, but Obviously, just Zealot Stalker here is the initial investment, so we move our way in for that at the moment. Nice, yeah. Medevac moving up the sides. And the Raven comes in ready to drop down an auto turret as well, just to be a little bit annoying, a little bit frustrating in these early stages. Seeing just what we can do. Obviously, the more damage you get done off that, the happier you're typically going to be, although it's not too crazy or too problematic. It doesn't go super well. Probably have a pause. We all custom replays today, guys, so it is going to be, obviously, for us, we can skip through these pauses. These games were played across this weekend just gone by, in case you are wondering. So, yeah, just in case you wanted to know, there you go, information gained. As we move on along, just going to be seeing our Immortal coming out here. Big push from Q starting up, so currently on 2 bases, hitting his Bioforce soon. He's not in 5 racks or anything along those lines. Let's wait and see how this turns out. It's going to be seeing a little scan to get rid of an observer is always going to be a pretty nice catch. Nice to get rid of a little bit of stuff there. As we continue to move forward, this Bioforce is off on a little bit of a hunt. Bioforce settling up and just going to be starting to make a bit of a move forward. Just going to see a couple of Stalkers in the front here. And well, Immortal, a couple of Adept Stalkers all coming through. Just going to see how Bioforce stimming in, and this army is being kept back. The tank's in good position to keep Zoun away. We're going to go diving into the third base location now. So we'll be making a move for this. Immortal's trying to come forward here. The Stalkers blink on top. I mean, they're slowly going to get rid of the tank, but this tank stayed alive a long time. I gotta say that feels as though we're probably going to see Kira just having way too much. Zoun not able to clean this up. Simple push from Kira. You get across the map pretty quickly here on Royal Blood. That's going to be GG's. Kira taking a 1-0 lead in our opening best of the big map. I'm kind of surprised this one made it into the map pool. To me, this was not a map that was immediately on my radar, being like, oh yeah, this is the kind of map we should get into the map pool, but not in like a necessarily bad way per se, just like, you know, yeah, not in a bad way, just one of those scenarios where it's like, kind of felt as though there was other maps that were perhaps even a little bit better than this one. And kind of expected those to come into the map pools sooner than these others did, so yeah. Anyways, excuse me, no issues coming out of that. So we'll be getting ourselves ready for Rumble. And seeing what sort of builds our players are going to bring out. We see Zoun starting to move across the map. Obviously just kind of shut down before he could really do much of anything last time around. So not really able to get off the ground at all. So it's a bit of a painful start in all honesty, but it's just something he can maybe begin to work on and look at for the better. As we continue by. It's going to be having the probe then, having a little scout in. Going to be seeing a couple of SCVs come down. Obviously, this is just going to be one gas. We are looking for an expansion, so anything we can do to delay here so far is looking pretty effective. Let's see, SCV making a little bit of a wander across. I'm just going to see the Cybercore, Nexus, all of this continuing in for the moment. All of this getting ready to... Just a lot of setting up at the moment, basically. So a lot of getting up, running, etc. Probe comes to be a little restrained for a couple of seconds here, just trying to deal some damage. Obviously, Marine gets in there, pushes that probe back pretty quickly, though, so kind of saying, hey, get out of here. Don't want to be dealing with you. None of your nonsense for the early opening moments of this game. Gonna try and keep ourselves out of trouble as best we can. And so far that's working pretty reasonably, as we do just have our factory coming up. And we wait to see how exactly things are going to go over the next couple of minutes. Ripper gets a probe down on this corner. And pick a probe off. I'm just going to be seeing our orbital command still coming up on the natural. Go again to 2 bases each. It's Twilight Council again from Zoun, once again opening in a very standard and somewhat expected way. Again, and the Reaper together will come across. Obviously, Hugh would love to find some extra information here, find out a little bit more of what's going on, what's happening, etc., etc. I imagine that's going to be his plan for the moment. Here, as you just see the Reaper and the Hellion coming through, and the probes are going to make their way across. Just going to see the Reaper does get taken down in the Hellion as well. So we get 1 probe kill only. Obviously, could have been a little bit better, you could argue, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like this was all so bad, all said and done. Little mines continue to set up in the base, and just going to be having our Adept making its way around here. Just trying to keep track of this Widow Mine drop, actually, for a few moments, which is a little amusing, because obviously not usually what you should expect to see out of this or anything, but there's a 3rd base going down, so it's not really Zoun looking to be too aggressive. That's kind of been the tale of both games, right? He wasn't looking to be too aggressive, it wasn't a ton of gateways. It is just kind of Blink with pretty standard follow-up on the back end of it, as this Adept shading into the main. Really going to find much of anything there. Well, the medevac comes around and is just going to be coming through, looking for that little bit of a drop in, see if we can indeed find something here to have some success these next couple moments. Just gonna sit there. Obviously, I mean, it's a threat, right? As long as you keep it there and you don't lose it, then it's a threat that just remains, and you're always going to be pretty happy about that for the most part, so it's one thing they'll just keep an eye on. As the Raven is obviously here as well, so you're looking for another way to potentially deal some initial or additional damage. As we have our few Stalkers just coming out across this side for the moment, and there is the Raven. Making it a little bit of a place. Like I say, it can be very annoying harassing with this Raven and dealing some damage with it, so that's definitely one thing we watch for here, right off the bat. And in fact, going to try and make a move right now as well. So here we go with the Wombo combo. Widow Mines in the natural. Raven into the main base as well. And that Raven just comes straight in, drops down a single auto turret. These auto turrets only last 8 seconds now, so not quite as deadly on the harass here in this new patch Raven scenario. They really, honestly, I have a little bit of a gripe with the new patch that since I last casted it, and that is they really went back on like so many of the changes they made, and they really did as well. All right, like they really did just a fat 180 on everything they were doing on so many parts of it, at least. And I don't know, I feel like the Raven, for example, was actually in a really cool place, and they took away a few of the changes on that, and I'm just like, well, it's kind of just like the old Raven with like such minor changes that I'm almost not even I almost don't even care anymore again, right? So I don't know. I was a little sad to see the Raven come back, and kind of just, it wasn't fully reverted, but just like I say, I feel like, I don't know, it feels like all the changes are just being kind of minimalized, and I don't know, I've not been as much of a fan of the recent updates to it compared to what we originally had. Anyways, that Observer gets sniped down, and Cure down about 5 workers at the moment, but that's obviously pretty good for you as a Terran player here. You're in a pretty great place, quite frankly. As you see the Bioforce turning back around as well. It's a little bit of army of Zoun. Setting up for the moment also. We got our Stalkers set here. A few Zealots warping in. Bioforce wants to come across, and these Stalkers just going to go for a medevac initially. Don't quite get it though. They don't take like a ton of damage or anything, but obviously a bit of damage taken there. As we take a few shots. It's going to be seeing the Everyone gets knocked out. He's going to be having a big fight then. Tank sets up. They get a couple. Widowmines don't do much. They kind of blow up units that were already going down. As the Super Battery continues to try and keep a couple of things alive. It's going to be seeing the tanks obviously still in good position here. And an annoying place to be. I mean, you look at this, right? This is... Oh, hang on a moment. Are we going to get this cleaned up? Looks like we are. Stalkers will get the first tank at the very least. The Zealots are taking a beating. The tanks will go down. The Bioforce still strong. Going to get rid of at least a couple of these Immortals, so really weakening the main structure of this force. Annoying position because you've got to deflect it. Otherwise, the drop into the main base can become very annoying as well. I wanted to try and point out. There's a couple of Zealots, and these few Stalkers continue to chase forward. The Widowmine being taken down. A little bit of Bio just going to come through and continue to jump onto a lot of this as well. A bit more Bio starting up as we have just reinforcements abound from Q. He just does not stop with this, just keeps on coming, keeps on bringing it. Get rid of a couple more mines. The medevacs up in the sky will be having to be a little careful maybe to the Stalkers. Next Stalkers warping in. Tell you what, it's a lot of Widow mines right now, and that's a little scary because obviously if the mines can all burrow, then brilliant, and they can do some good damage, awesome. But there is a world where obviously these mines can also just kind of all get taken down. If that's mostly what you're relying on, it's not great. We have our first probe going down over in this main base, so one probe already picked off. But look at the army supplies, guys. Like, Zoun does not have an army supply to speak of at the moment. So really not looking pretty for Zoun. And if Kyo keeps up this pressure, I do not feel like Zoun is going to be able to keep up in this game in the slightest. So this is really not looking ideal for him in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, I mean, quite frankly, we've got ourselves a bio army here from Kyo that is maybe not overwhelming right now, but again, these consistent trades are going to at some point probably make it be overwhelming, right? I would imagine so. Bio continues to kite back. A couple of Zealots continue to go down. Widow mines are trying to get set up as well. Mines burrowed up, Bioforce ready to just stay here and fight. Got a couple of Liberators coming in to support this eventually as well. The attack forward, a couple of Zealots going down. The Archon is just going to finish morphing in. Again, these mines making a dive to try and just burrow on top of this force. Takes the attention for a couple of moments, but still not ideal because you are losing out on them, right? So, yeah, not exactly ideal. Just going to get rid of this Archon, the gateway. There's a couple of Stalkers taking hits to the Immortals too. This Bioforce just continuing to work our way through all of this here as Immortal after Immortal continues going down. This is just going to be a full cleanup and cure. Second game in a row where we just see an aggressive, consistent just push forward from Q that just does not stop. That eventually is good enough. That's probably played. Let's go down to the bottom right hand side where we have got ourselves the red Terran player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Q. He's taking on the blue Protoss from AlphaX in the top left-hand corner of the map, Zoun. Map 3 of our best of 5. Babylon, and Zoun looking to obviously bounce back a little bit right now in this matchup as... Yeah, 0-2 down, not being a great set of games for him just yet. Rolling Boy, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Welcome back. Yeah, thank you so much for the sub. I mean, honestly, for me, Zoun needs to just find a way to to kind of stop Kua just taking full control, because Kua really does seem to just have such good control of the game at the moment. It's being a little bit wild in that regard, I guess. Just Zoun not able to kind of deal with that, and the game gets away from him. SCV is coming across, just gonna see the Reaper hopping back down the low ground. Got ourselves the Adept just coming up to being about halfway done. The Nexus still about halfway along as well. Probe still producing. And a few SCVs and a mule just nibbling around for a few moments. Gonna be the Reaper pinging away at the pylon, just gonna get the bunker up at the front as well, so everything getting set up defensively. Q not taking any risks at all. Happy to let this become just a nice little, you know, bunker up, defend any early pressure that Zoun might arrive with. Just get ready to push that back should anything get too problematic. And yeah, it's just nice, you know, playing, like I say, nice and safe, not really doing anything too crazy or anything. There's going to be a Phoenix on production from Zoun, so obviously a big change up to what we've been seeing in the earlier games. Just going to mix that up a little bit. Just going to have ourselves the and then coming across the map as well. I mean, we see so far it's just a Reaper getting shot down. Information from Cure. Obviously, you look at this and see what he's seen. He's been able to see exactly what's building up the Stargate, so he knows pretty much everything there is to know right now, which obviously is just good news. So they should be feeling pretty good about things for the moment. So far, so good, as we just have a Hellion gonna come sit around the side. So it's going to be seeing our probe then on a little bit of a wander, journeying around a little bit. And just going to be seeing the starport moving across to take a tech lab. So we'll be doing exactly that. And that Viking's still just hanging out overhead as the Raven comes in as well. So Giro obviously has been using his Raven both games so far. He's been able to be pretty aggressive with it and find some good damage. A couple of extra wrecks just coming up, and just going to be having, obviously, 3 racks in total. Factory built into a tech lab. And the Raven's still producing on the starport as this Hellion continues to scout around this bottom side. Racks, SCVs, Marines, Raven, everything currently in production. As the starport will lift off, move over to the reactor. And a few Phoenixes make their way in. It's going to be trying to get in towards this main base. See what they can do. If Phoenix come venturing forward, another depot going up. A few Phoenix from Zoun will go back to the upper left-hand side. Kira's up 2-0 and is looking good early game, not letting these Phoenix do too much just yet. It is a lot of pressure right now on our it's a lot of pressure right now, honestly, on our Protoss play. You know, you're down, you're hurting, things have not been looking good for you so far. Phoenix coming back across to the other side, then let's see if they can maybe make something happen as we get rid of another single SCV. By the way, cool update to the UI, by the way. We now see when a single SCV has died on the UI, which was never previously the case. You used to just see when, you know, ones that got to 2 or higher. That's kind of a cool little change that's happened on the UI recently. Shout out to everyone still updating this, and still making those things happen. Can we see now Phoenix continue to settle in here. Life Force making its way along across the map. First little push here, but it's been a very different approach so far in this series than what we've been seeing before from Zoun with the Phoenix now into Colossus. So realizing that the Twilight Council stuff isn't working for himself, like I say, plays this very differently here and just switching it up a little bit, which I can only obviously really agree with, right? I mean, it was not working for him up until now. So it makes complete sense to try something different. And with the first Colossus up here, it should be pretty difficult to realistically get anything done. And so far, that's kind of exactly what we're seeing. The Bioforce ends up backing away, pulling back just for the moment. All the probes going down. That Bioforce continues to make its way to the left-hand side, so trying to get in here and trying to be a little bit of excitement. As Widowline gets lifted up immediately, the Marines come forward, looking to try and grab a Phoenix. Not quite able to straight away, unfortunately. But we'll get a pylon. We'll be able to continue from here at the moment with a little bit more continuation into our Phoenix harassing. I mean, the Terran player just getting set up, trying to see if there is an opportunity, trying to see if there is going to be a way to potentially deal damage in these early stages. So far as not really being the case. Let's just see our Bioforce coming around, and he's going to be even stimming in over here to grab a Zealot, all of this Bio up to the very far north, and Kua is going to be having to bring these split armies around the maps, really trying to make work happen with these, and just Zoun having to deal with it. Obviously with the Phoenix protecting the top side, the main army protecting the bottom. It's not really been an issue yet, but you can definitely see where Kua can perhaps, at some stage, become very annoying, become very frustrating, and start to really outmaneuver Zoun with these armies. There's definitely no guarantee, and this definitely ain't going to be super easy. Gonna grab ourselves a quick little kill. Single probe going down, nothing too major. Just going to be having ourselves the rest of this Bioforce still making its way along. With an army poison on both sides, again, you got to be super careful here as Zoun, but he has the tools to deal with this. He has the tech absolutely in play, right? He's got himself the Disruptors up, the Colossi up. He's got what he needs. And it's just a question of kind of executing at this point in time, so we'll see if he can make it happen. The Nexus on the way up. And I wouldn't mind actually. I thought it maybe hit a Colossus, but no, it has not. Just a probe that was there. No fourth base from Zoun is an issue, right? You kind of expecting a Protoss player to have a fourth at this point. There's one thing that Kua is definitely achieving, keeping Zoun off of a fourth base, keeping him away from that kind of advantage, which again, you usually are able to make the most of as a Protoss. Get your bases up early, put yourself in a good place there against the Terran. It's just obviously not happening at all this time around as Bio Sims 4 trying to grab a Disruptor. Well, this is where you really want the other part of the army to be moving along at the same time, guys, because if you're not moving along at the same time, you're going to find yourself in quite a bit of trouble very quickly. So, work to be done here. And as we sim forward, we are going to get the Nexus. There we go. So, it's just you can't take the full-on fight and expect to be okay in these sort of scenarios, right? So, yeah, just something to be careful of. Gotta keep, on top of all of that. Let's do CRCC, and you want just gonna move across to fourth base from the Terran player. still no fourth base cross-wise, and that's obviously an issue. It gets cancelled yet again. Zoun can just not stand up for himself at all in these games. He is having an absolute horrible time in attempting to get this all up and running, and this really has just turned out to be, again, a tough game for him. Like, I mean, it's gone better than the last one, I guess, because he was already more or less dead in the last games at these points, but is he not just more or less dead here? I guess not, because obviously you're still holding out hope that you can find that one really good fight, right? That's the one thing that can still really go your way. One really good fight, one really good trade, that just changes absolutely everything, of course. So I'd say that's a factor that we're kind of holding on to for the moment. Force does just dive on this though, and the Colossus going down. Not exactly ideal, as it does feel as though we're going to be having ourselves taking a bit too much control. Zoun's army has just been absolutely melting. It's not even close, quite honestly. When you look at the setup here at the moment. Nexus comes up on the fourth location, and just going to be having, finally, a chance to maybe see this fourth base be properly online. Of course, it's come at the cost of your entire army being killed instead of the fourth base being killed. So I can't exactly say it's all sunshine and rainbows suddenly for Zoun, but I mean, with the fourth base, at least you can maybe keep in this game. The problem is, you would kind of feel like right now you probably need to start moving to a fifth base very quickly as well, else what are you going to be able to do here? And obviously, do you really want to be trying to rush off to a fifth base? No, probably not. Because you're just going to have all the same issues as before. Kira has so much control. Now Kira's going to take this one step further. He's going to start dropping into the bases. And that's obviously even more of a problem than what we've been seeing previously. So, into the bases we go. And the main base just under heavy fire. 14 workers, going to lose Templar Archives. We're going to lose a bunch of... just a bunch of everything that's obviously very useful to actually have alive pylons, etc. And the only thing I will say is there's a lot of ghosts here, so maybe we end up losing too many ghosts, and then this becomes a bad plan. But as long as it stands the way, or goes the way that it's currently going, I feel like this is pretty okay for Q. He still has units over there as well, so they've not yet been cleaned out, so still causing issues. Do you see the Medivacs finally deciding to boost away? I mean, Q loses a lot, though, right? I mean, to lose all those ghosts especially, like, I don't even know if they were super essential in drop. 1 or 2 for an EMP or an extra, sure. But the amount of EMPs that were actually available there versus how much you used those ghosts, I really feel like it was a bit of a waste, so... a little bit of a shame there, perhaps, arguably. But at the same time, we're still talking about Q being in a pretty fantastic position. Up in workers, taking another base for himself, so he's looking at 5th base. I mean, obviously so is now Zoun taking one to the 12 o'clock. He needs to hold on to that again, it seems soon, after taking his 4th, but yeah, his 4th was just that late that he's not been in a good position, so this isn't a case of, you know, really having an easy time around this. This is just Zoun got to keep on going, trying to make up for issues he's had earlier in this game at this point. By force, and able to break through here. The Colossus and the few Phoenix enough to overwhelm for a little bit. Disruptors on the left side connecting rather decently as well, so doing something with this too. And I get a little bit of hope going once again, perhaps, as a few Liberators get themselves sieged up also. Lib's still on the way out, by the way, as well. So plenty of Libs, and that's going to be what can really control this Protoss army. So if you ever get to the point where it's like, oh, is this Protoss army a little bit too scary? Probably not, because that's where the Liberators are going to be able to control the game. So that's another one of the issues that you kind of have to face here then. As Zoun, how are you going to deal with these Libs? Well, your only real option that you can truly afford right now is just a mass, and I really mean a mass, of Stalkers. And that's not ideal in any way, shape, or form. We all know that. We all know that realistically you don't want to be building just a mass of Stalkers against, well, you don't want to be building mass of Stalkers against Liberators. There's just a point at which the Liberators are way too much in that scenario, but also at the situation here where it just doesn't matter right now, right? There's just, you know, it's too far gone to be caring about that kind of stuff. You just gotta go and do whatever you can Stalkers, Colossi, and Disruptors go jumping onto this space over here and find themselves a kill. So at least they get a bit of a pick off, and they're going to go top right as well. So a couple of better moments all of a sudden here from Zoun as he denies some of the economy here of Cure. Yeah, I mean, that's such a Cure reset down to 3 bases. The Libs were just a little bit too far away, right? If the Libs were here, then you set up a position that really Zoun can't be breaking into. He can't attack into that. But the Liberators were just not quite out in good enough numbers yet for him to feel comfortable moving them forward. So that is why this game will go on a little bit and why things are not quite yet going to be all rounded out. Zoun going to keep himself in this for just that little bit longer as the Bioforce coming through here. 9 probes getting knocked down as well. Seeing a couple of disruptive shots trying to clean up, but they're not exactly the best when it comes to drop defense, to say at the very least. Big push here, I'm just going to be seeing, I mean, Liberator sieging. Liv should do a lot of damage in this. Don't be wrong, some of the disruptors are dealing good damage as well. A few of them getting killed off also, but another shot that actually lands, and to be fair, the disruptors do keep connecting. The Libs put too much initial damage on this, though. I feel like we kind of know just how it goes from here, guys. Been kind of scripting this one up for a little while at this stage, as it's been, like I said, it's kind of been a long time coming, I guess. Zoun really made a final bid in this game. He really did say, hey, look, I'm going to try and actually stay in this a little bit. I'm going to try and hold on that little bit longer and see if I can make a comeback, and he very nearly did. He did a lot of correct things. He did a lot of things right, put himself into a reasonable position. It was just too little too late, and especially with the Liberators coming out, the Libs especially, I feel like, made this a case where it's like, oh, cool, you're just about doing well, but now I've got the ultimate answer to anything else that you could be doing, and I feel like I'm going to be okay, and then Q is obviously just very happy about it. GG's.